I'm standing on a boat in the Venetian lagoon at 2 in the morning, and I can already tell this was a terrible idea. The water's black, the wind's doing that thing where it sounds like it's whispering your name, and somewhere ahead in the dark is Poveglia, an island that even the locals won't go near. We're about to dock on what many call the most haunted place on Earth, and honestly, I'm not sure I'm ready for what we're going to find, but we're here now, so let's talk about why this place has earned its reputation. Poveglia sits in the Venetian lagoon, a small island between Venice and Lido, and for centuries, it was just there. A quiet spot, some vineyards, nothing special. Then the plague arrived. We're talking about the Black Death in 1348, and later outbreaks in 1630 and 1576. Venice was hit hard, over and over. The city needed somewhere to put the sick, the dying and the dead, and Poveglia became that place. If you showed symptoms, you were shipped here. If you were suspected of contact, you were quarantined here. And if you died here, which tens of thousands did, you were buried here. The thing is, buried is a generous term. When plague deaths overwhelm a city, you don't get individual graves, you get pits, mass graves where bodies were stacked, burned, and covered with lime to stop the spread. Estimates suggest over 100,000 plague victims ended up on Poveglia, their ashes and bones mixed into the soil itself. Fast forward to 1922, Italy decides Poveglia would be perfect for a psychiatric hospital. I don't know who looked at an island literally built on plague corpses and thought, yes, excellent place for mental health treatment. But here we are. The facility operated for decades, housing patients in crumbling buildings where the walls were already soaked in centuries of death. Conditions were reportedly grim, isolation, outdated treatments, and an atmosphere that couldn't have been therapeutic. Then the legend begins. There was supposedly a doctor who performed experimental procedures on patients. Lobotomies without anesthesia, crude surgeries, psychological torture. The stories say he became obsessed with the island's ghosts. He allegedly fell, or jumped, or was pushed, from the asylum's bell tower. A nurse claimed he survived the fall but was choked to death by a ghostly mist rising from the ground. So, what happens when people actually go to Poveglia? Well, first off, most people don't. Fishermen in the lagoon actively avoid it. There are stories of nets getting tangled on human bones, of voices calling from the shore at dusk, but the few who visited report some deeply unsettling things. Disembodied voices speaking in old Venetian dialects, the sound of the bell tower ringing, even though the bell was removed decades ago. One investigator described hearing a woman sobbing in the hospital wing, then finding a rusted surgical table still bolted to the floor. The Italian government has declared the island off limits without special permission, citing structural danger. But also, they don't exactly encourage visits. It's as if even officialdom wants to keep people away. In 2014, the Italian government tried to lease Poveglia to private developers, but restoration efforts stalled almost immediately. Workers reportedly refused to stay after dark. Equipment malfunctioned. Occasionally researchers are granted access. Human remains still surface in the lagoon mud. Femurs, skulls, fragments of bone mixed with pottery and ash. Each discovery is a reminder that Poveglia isn't just haunted by stories. Okay, let's pump the brakes. The voices could be wind funneling through the asylum's hollow architecture. The bell might be metal debris shifting in the tower. The shadows are likely just shadows. But here's what I find interesting. Even the skeptics admit Poveglia has an atmosphere. The history is real. The mass graves are real. The asylum is real. Let's say you could visit Poveglia. You'd dock at the crumbling pier, step onto soil that crunches with fragments of bone and brick. You'd walk through the asylum courtyard, past the bell tower where the doctor allegedly fell, into wards where paint peels like skin and graffiti tags mix with decades-old medical records rotting on the floor. You'd hear the lagoon lapping at the shore, the wind moving through empty windows, and you'd feel something. Poveglia asks a question. What do we owe the dead? And what happens when we build on top of their graves? I don't have the answer. But standing on that dock at 2 in the morning, I can tell you, I felt something. Maybe it was just the wind. If you made it this far, thanks for coming with me to one of the darkest places I've ever covered. Poveglia isn't going anywhere. It's still out there in the lagoon, still off limits, still waiting. Subscribe, and let me know what location I should cover next.